Hello and welcome back to Nerd News Today, Toy Fair 2021. And now joining me on the other side of the screen, we have James Brinkley and Joe Weil from Fox Forge. Gentlemen, how's it going today?
Going good.
Good. How are you?
Doing all right. Thanks for joining us here today. So you guys are making Dusk figures. That is the big license here we're going to be talking about in a few moments. You guys are doing a Kickstarter for it right now that is currently ongoing at the time of this video being launched. But before we talk about Dusk and all those really cool toys, I want to ask you guys each, what was your favorite toy as a kid growing up?
You go, Joe.
Oh, me on the spot? Star Wars. Hands down, I grew up Power of the Force 2, 1995. That was my bread and butter. It
Yeah.
still is.
I would definitely say, yeah, Star Wars figures for me as well. Definitely got into into action figures around like Attack of the Clones time.
Star Wars makes perfect sense seeing what you guys are making nowadays.
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
guys have any background in making toys before this, or was Fox Forge essentially your first foray into this field?
That's funny. James has.
Yeah. So I mean, like we've both always had a passion for toys, like growing up and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
then, I was lucky enough to work for Toys R Us corporate. So I was making and helping develop toys for Toys R Us. So I was able to fully understand like the production process and all that stuff of like how an idea starts and then you get it onto like store shelves. So it was like a really mesmerizing process. And then I presented my knowledge to Joe, and then we got together and decided to make our own action figure line together.
No, we were actually supposed to meet you guys last year at Toy Fair. Timing didn't work out, unfortunately, but I'm glad now, thanks to the fact that we're doing this virtually, I'm able to meet
Yeah.
you guys and do it not quite person to person, but close enough. But I gotta ask you guys, since last year, Toy Fair was the beginning essentially of the pandemic. Here we are now in the midst of it, hopefully a tail end, but still a lot of work to do. But how has the pandemic affected what you guys have been doing with these toys?
It's funny. The pandemic, I'm sure, like a lot of people, forced us to call a lot of different audibles throughout the year. And for a while, we were scrambling, just trying to figure out what to do because, we both work full time. James still does the product development stuff, but I'm a teacher. So I more specifically, I'm a special ed teacher. So it was like trying to juggle everything at once. We were supposed to go to Five Points Fest in Brooklyn, I think May.
Yeah, Maytime.
Maytime, yeah. But obviously got canceled, so we had to shift to online. So we had to squeeze, I think, roughly 6 months of production for the original figures that we were producing with 5 points of articulation into maybe
Yeah.
3 months time. So I moved, we were both just in the midst of everything, and we were, up at 3 a.m. painting in our basements, just getting stuff ready. And um, at the same time, it was stressful. It was a lot, but I think it kind of forced us to see the end goal a little more clearly, and that was the Kickstarter. We,
Mhm.
we didn't anticipate doing the Kickstarter until this year. So we had, the first shot in October of last year. And, like James said at the beginning, it was not successful, but it allowed us to look at everything, and we just regrouped from there. So pandemic was, stressful. It took a lot of time for us to kind of figure out what our next step was along the way. But at the same time, I think it kind of was, we were able to pull from it. We were able to
Mhm.
benefit from it a little bit in that, it helped us get more concrete goals for
Yeah,
the line.
for sure.
My uncle used to say that failure is a window to success. And, I was there when you guys had that very first Kickstarter. I was watching it, seeing how things were going, and I'm sad it didn't happen, but it seems like it might have been for the best, actually. So,
Yeah.
what did you guys learn from that first Kickstarter that you've done differently for this one?
What haven't we learned?
Yeah. We looked at it as I think we're a very small company. We've built it from the ground up. We're still trying to attract as much interest as possible to Fox Forge Toys as well as the Stardust action figure brand. I feel like we may have overestimated ourselves, even though when we were
Yeah.
having our discussions, we thought we were starting at a good starting point, but that wasn't to be the case. So we definitely learned from that, and then we got really great feedback from our fans and backers saying like, "Oh, we really like the Dread Ops Legionnaire," and and like the troop builder characters. So we're like, oh, okay, we didn't have those in our initial lineup, so we brought them forward on the second try, and then on our second try, which is live currently during this video, we've been doing really well, and we're like 93% funded with still like 22 days left.
Yeah, I would say that was the biggest takeaway from us was taking all the feedback that we had gotten from the last one and actually capitalizing on it and really answering everybody back and
Like updating the sculpts and
yeah,
stuff like
we
that.
just kind of went back and whatever we could overhaul, we overhauled, and it took us a while to do it, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to pay off, hopefully.
Yeah, and we should add for anybody watching this today, we're filming this interview. It's January 27 right now. You're watching this, of course, during Nerd News Today Toy Fair, so it's been a few weeks since then, but the Kickstarter is still going on. It's going to wrap up on February 18th, so you still have some time to get into it because, yeah, you guys are so close, so help them make sure they get there, and if they've already gotten there, hey, you're guaranteed toys now, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the world of Stardust now. Can you tell us a little bit of the story of this? Well, I guess first things first is what's the creation behind this, and what's the actual story of the world of Stardust?
I feel like the story of Stardust kind of starts with the first question you asked, which was what were our favorite action figures growing up. It bloomed out of James and I both of our passion for science fiction and action figures, and me writing. Always loved writing. I loved reading science fiction novels and stuff. So the concept of world building was just always there for us, I guess. We dove deep into George Lucas archives of dictionaries and the backstories of this character and this character, and we kind of it started with the first one, which was Dost, and James brought the idea to me. He brought the sketch, and at first the characters began, not so much the story. We kind of just started. I started doing rough sketches of the remaining characters, and James and I pitched in together, and we started conceptualizing all of that. And then once the characters were done, we sat back and we were kind of like, okay, now what? We have the characters, now we need the story. So that's when we took extra time to write out their planets, their star maps, their backstories, how they all weave together. And it's still ongoing. We're still always updating and adding to the story. There are installments on the website now, and I think they're like solid 15 pages or so
Yeah,
each.
it's definitely a good long read.
It's a good long
Very
read.
in-depth world already, yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of just started like that, one thing after another just started domino effect.
So can you actually show us any of the figures? I believe you guys have some in hand, right? Can we take a look at some Stardust figures?
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
So this is the Reaper Division Legionnaire. That the reason why we named him the Reaper Division Legionnaire is because it expands upon in the story relatively quickly. So this is the Reaper Division Legionnaire, like crimson color.
Just a bad dude.
Yeah. So they're like over 30 points of articulation. Like, yeah, these are just the prototypes, so we can't really move them around too much, unfortunately. But he has the troop builder Legionnaire has like removable helmet, with like a grayed out what is it, like paint deco, because they use it as their like to be more like Reaper-ish, I guess.
It's yeah.
And then we also have Commander Alder, who Joe's going to show.
So we have this guy here. So this is Alder. He's kind of the focal point for the story. The Alder name, we expand on it a lot, and just kind of how he starts the process for the characters being introduced and how they weave in, and he's definitely going to be the focal character going forward, I think.
Yes.
So we have him,
and he bands together with a bunch of these other guys that they go along as the story progresses. So this is Zeno. He is a stretch goal in the current Kickstarter campaign. So if we don't hit the funding goal, then he will not be produced. But as we've showed with the Reaper Division Legionnaire and Commander Alder, they will be produced as things are looking right now. So he has like jetpack and all that. So we've put like we wanted to put like a lot of detail into these guys and all that stuff. And then yeah, Joe can grab the next guy.
And it's funny enough, as we're showing them, so this is Dost. So he was the first one. He was the OG one that James thought of, and that kind of kickstarted this whole process. No pun intended. But as we're showing them, your viewers, you're gonna realize that none of them really share the same molds.
Yeah.
And that's because we kind of got a little carried away while we were designing them. We could have reused parts and everything, but like I said, we were hand sketching the designs and getting them 3D printed. So we really wanted them to be unique.
Yes.
That was more, it wasn't so much how can we make this cost efficient. It was more so how can we make this the coolest possible product that we can make. So this is Razek. And I actually got this guy tattooed on my kneecap over the summer. So can't show you that, but
That's for the FoxForge OnlyFans account.
yeah, that's the OnlyFans.
And what's really cool I've noticed too about all these figures that they're all different sizes too. They're all like basically in the same scale, but they're all independently sized each other in terms of their heights. That's what you guys are doing. For these
I believe Zurge, he's like a deluxe size character. He's like just above, a little above 7 inches.
Yeah, so they range between, I think Doss is the shortest, he's like 5'9", and then the rest of them are between 6 and 7.
Yeah. So they work perfectly with a lot of 1/12 scale 6-inch figures.
So in addition to that, you guys also have, I think, some other things that are part of this Kickstarter. And you've got a weapons crate, you've got some weapons. You can remind me other extra heads as well. Basically, kind of run down what's going on with the Kickstarter, what are the rewards, what do people get, and how do they get their hands on these really nice looking figures?
Yeah, so like the initial funding goal is 32,500. So if we just hit that and like the Kickstarter ends, it's going to be the Reaper Division Legionnaire, Commander Alder, the weapons and accessories pack, and the Dread Ops Legionnaire. And then on top of that, if you then hit the next stretch goal where we're already getting funded, but then more and more money gets pledged towards it, we start to unlock other cool goodies for the Stardust line. So I believe the first one is Commander Alder in his Reaper Division colors.
Yeah. So then we have, these are the weapons that will be coming with each character, but also we have the separate weapons pack for people who want to really build up their arsenals and, definitely, we wanted to make sure that each figure came with at least 2 weapons. So we really had to go back and think about how we can get that to happen and how we can make sure each weapon is scaled to each figure. And so we went with universal hands as well. That's kind of why you'll notice we don't really have separate hands and, trigger fingers and all those different goodies. In the future, that's a possibility. We definitely would look into that. But we spent a lot of time with our, developers and our 3D designers to make sure that they all had that universal posing hand. So every weapon that we show here, every single character will be able to hold. Even the big gun. This is Zurge, and we have pictures of Dost holding this thing, so it's possible.
Yeah. So yeah, then like that, this was the first stretch goal, which is Commander Alder in the Reaper Division colors. If you read the story, it expands upon why he's in those crimson colors to start with, and then it goes the weapons crate, which allows you to hold all of like your weapons and accessories that come with the figures. So that's a really cool, like, fun little thing to have on the side for like if you want to display them or like play with them.
It's about the size roughly of one figure too, like height wise. It's a pretty beastly thing, When we printed it out, we didn't realize just how big the dimensions were for the weapons crate, but you can hold
multiple weapons.
I think it was about 8 different weapons that you can hold inside. You can hold I think up to 3 helmets in there. It's just a really cool thing.
It is.
But then after the weapons crate is our different weapons pack. So it's got all these brand new sculpts that we worked on and we had made up, and those will again fit with the universal hand, so every figure can hold them. And want to make sure that was a possibility.
And they work and all the accessories, like for example, if there's a customer out there that's like, oh, I don't really like the Stardust characters, oh, but I really love the weapons. The Stardust weapons are compatible with like other action figure series out there. So you can get like classified series GI Joes working really good with like the plasma shotgun that we have.
Yeah.
And then after that, I believe it then goes
The figures.
to more figures at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like 55 gets you to the Legionnaire and Surgeon, and then Xeno, who is this is Xeno,
Yeah.
and then you then go to
I think
Dost.
the rest of them.
Yeah, Dost. Then it then goes Razek,
He remembers them.
and then then it goes Zurge, and then it then goes this is a really early prototype phase, but this is Valek Alder, who has like the transparent helmet, which will be removable as well, but very early prototype version of him so far. But yeah, like those are all the stretch goals.
And then a Nico is the
And
last
Nico,
one.
yeah.
So in addition to that, I think you guys are doing blanks as well. Is that something that's part of this as well?
Oh yeah, that escaped our mind.
Yeah, so we have the Legionnaire that we'll be offering, but he'll be just flat gray. So we it kind of came out roughly around the same time that McFarlane released his Warhammer all gray. So that was just kind of a funny coincidence because we were thinking about it. So it's just going to be the standard Legionnaire, like the Black Ops, like the Insurgent, going to come with the same weapons, but it's going to be a primed gray. So everything's going to be fully customizable, primed all ready to go. And, we kind of did that for the DIY customizers out there, the artists too.
Use it as fodder pieces as
Yeah.
well if you wanted to.
We kind of tested the waters too over the summer when we did our Founders Edition figures, which were the figures that we made and painted. But we had DIY figures of them, and each figure was gray, and we sold them at a cheap price, and people just bought them and they customized them. They took pictures, they tagged us, and we got really good feedback from it, good
yeah.
reception. So we said, why not? Why, we did it in that scale. Why can't we do it in the articulated scale? So we just ended up going there too for the Kickstarter.
Yep.
So those will be $15. And, we were able to do, we got accepted into the beta Kickstarter add-on feature, which I guess you have to apply for, and we got approved. So as the Kickstarter goes on, what's really cool about it is whatever gets unlocked, so like the weapons crate, the weapons pack 2.0, anything else that gets unlocked for add-ons and stuff, we can add it during the Kickstarter. So that's really a cool feature that we hope we'll be able to use.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's very cool, and it's a really great price for a blank too. I mean, for anybody who wants to do customizing and army building and customizing with on top of that, yeah, that $15 is a steal.
Yeah.
Hard pressed to beat that. But
Yeah.
well, again, we were just thinking about like from our end, like what's a price that we would pay to get a blank figure? 15. Yeah, sure. Let's do
Yeah.
it. We kind of thought like that. No real extra thought in that one.
Yeah, because we love customizing figures ourselves. So we know like how other like collectors out there feel, so we want to provide them a high quality product and also give them the best possible price so that they can do whatever they want to their Legionnaires.
Yeah, you buy 3, you mess up 2, it's all good.
Yeah.
Now, back in December, you guys did a character named Iniko, and that was like a special release that you guys did. So I'm curious if you have plans to do anything like that again in 2021, and if you'll be doing more regularly single figure releases like that.
Yeah. So I mean, like we did a Nico. She's a stretch goal, obviously on the Kickstarter. And then she would be way more articulated at that point.
Same 30 points.
So right now on this one, she's more or less like a statue at this point.
Yeah.
She has like 2 points of articulation just at the arms, but it was just like a fun little thing because people were really excited to see her and they wanted to get a figure in hand. So we were able to be like, hey, all right, let's do like a limited run of Aniko in like these different like transparent colorways. and they sold exceptionally well
Yeah.
because people were really gravitated towards her, like I guess her style and her look towards her badass and like all that stuff, and like with the axes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we plan on doing more in the upcoming Five Points Festival. We're going to be releasing probably Valak in like different colorways, or we might even paint them up ourselves
Yeah.
and release them at that point. And then there's also the talk of maybe doing like Founders Edition, like 5 points of articulation, like Dread Ops Troopers as well.
Yeah.
Because we love, making them and all that stuff. So we still want to release the Founders Edition figures, but as time goes on, we're not going to continue doing them.
Yeah, I mean, there's special releases for that reason. Like with Aniko, we did her and her limited run over the the holiday season. It was kind of like we did it as a it was with a charity too. So for each one that was sold, we donated a toy to Toys for Tots.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like something that we were thinking about doing, and so we wanted to do the rest of them, later on this year, something similar, like James said. So, we'll do it with maybe another charity, or we'll also do them at 5 points. But what's cool about the Founders Edition, like all of the other figures that we did in the past, we're not making those again. So, if you have a DOS that's hand painted by one of us that we sold over the summer last year, that's we're not making them anymore. So going forward, we might, paint up a Nico or Valak, or, we'll release others in different colorways. But for the most part, I think our hand painting days are pretty limited at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so for any folks who want to follow updates on Fox Forge Toys and on the Stardust Kickstarter, where can they go to keep up to date?
To keep up to date, it would definitely be our Instagram and
Yeah.
our Facebook page. We're always posting on there, always giving people updates on like the new thing that's coming through.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be, I mean, if the Kickstarter is successful, we'll be constantly pushing out content on there for like where we are in certain production phases. We want everyone to be aware of where we are in certain thing, like where we are in like the mold phase, the production phase,
Just
as
being
well as the
transparent.
shipping, and just be as transparent as possible
Yeah.
so everyone knows when they can expect it, because God forbid there might be some shipping delays, but we would address that as soon as possible if there were to be any.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely our Facebook and Instagram would be the best bet.
All right, well, James and Joe, thank you so much for chatting with us today. And for anybody who wants to check out the Kickstarter, there is a link to it in the YouTube description below. You guys still have a few more days to get in on this, so don't miss out. And again, we're filming this way in advance, so by now they've either met their goal or they're going to be even closer to it. So make sure you get in on some of that
Hopefully,
action.
yeah.
So James, Joe, thank you guys so much. Good luck on the Kickstarter. I look forward to seeing much more from Stardust, and hopefully 2022 I can actually see you guys in person at Toy Fair. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
that'd be awesome.
I'll buy you guys some ice cream or something to make up for not seeing you last
Yeah,
time.
that's it. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys again so much. And everybody out there
Thank
today
you.
who's watching Nerd News Today Toy Fair 2021, stick around because we got some more coming right up.
Thank you.